Hello, my name is Nicole. You are welcome to call me Nikki. And this is a 30-minute Pilates inspired workout for folks recovering from COVID. That means we're going to be focusing on breath. We're going to be taking it slow, but it is still Pilates. So we are focusing on connecting your core to the rest of your limbs, to your movements, and also connecting breath to movement. For this class, all you need is a towel that is folded up to look kind of like a half foam roller or something, if you've ever seen those. Basically, something that's about the width of your palm high is a good place to start, and just about as wide as your body and your hips. So we'll start with the towel, bolster, whatever you're using, right about at the sort of top third of your mat. So as we move along, as always, if you've taken this class before, please move at your own pace. If I'm moving too fast, go at your own pace. I'll be counting repetitions of exercises, but remember, you can always decide to do half of what we're doing, or if you want to go a little faster, you can do more as well. Always connect to your breath. If you feel your heart rate getting up too high, take some time, slow down. This is a video, so you can pause it and then start it up again, or just sit back and kind of watch what's happening and decide when you want to hop in. So we're going to start laying on our backs with this bolster right behind your, sort of like your shoulder, bottom of your shoulder blades. If you wear a bra, around your bra line, something like that. And you're going to kind of ease yourself onto it, because another way to think about it is that this bolster is behind your sternum and behind your chest, because then you're going to help yourself down into a kind of a big arch over it. So if it feels too high, you can always unfold it if it's a towel or a blanket, or you can go up a little higher. That might feel a little less intense. So your chest is opening, your arms can come down by your side, your head is resting on the mat or whatever your space is that you're laying on. Breathe. This is a big chest opener. So your sternum, your pecs, all of this is opening. Your ribs are also expanding over this towel. If you want a bigger stretch, you're going to reach the arms out to the side. That's going to continue the stretch along the front of your shoulders and your biceps. And if you're laying here and you feel like, this doesn't feel quite right, I want to scooch. Like, I'm going to actually scooch a little higher than what I said, because for me right now, oh, that feels like the good spot. That feels like I'm getting more of a stretch, a little higher up on the shoulder blades. And we start here because we want to open up the breath. You want to feel your ribs being able to move, the muscles around your chest, your armpits, and your rib cage. They need that stretch, because when you start to engage those abdominals when we're working, you want your ribs to be able to move with breath so you can keep your belly tight. So 2 more breaths here on your own time. When you're ready to roll over, you can just roll right over towards the screen so you see what's happening. I'm going to basically keep my body on the same level with the towel or bolster, but lay on my side. So now it's kind of under my rib cage and armpit, and my knees are bent, and my top arm is going to reach up and over. So now I'm stretching the top side of my body here. This rib cage is expanding with breath. If I want a deeper stretch, the top leg is going along, and I'm stretching this whole top side of my body. I might feel a little length even in the side of my hip and waist here. You might also start already to be feeling your abdominals engage on the exhale. You can zip your abs up as if you were zipping up a tight pair of pants or a tight jacket. Feeling that belly engage to help push the air out. We'll take just 1 more breath here, acknowledging that you can, if this feels awesome and this is all you want to do today, pause the tape and just hang out. And then come around and do the other side when you're ready. I'm going to roll over. So I'm turning away so you can see just what it looks like from this side, but same deal. The towel is going basically under my shoulder blade, bra line if you wear one, not too high up in the armpit. Leg is going to go long right off the bat. I know I want that stretch, reach my top arm. And now feel the breath moving into this other side of your body. Feeling perhaps that scoop in your belly. So I'm going to help myself up. And just so you know, you could lay on this towel on your chest and sternum or even lower ribs as well to open up the back, but we'll be doing that later in child's pose. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started on working some of the core. So you can scooch this back. If it feels nice to rest it under your head, you're welcome to. If you prefer to have your head flat on the mat, you can also do that. So from here, knees are bent, feet flat on the floor. Inhale. Feel that expansion around the rib cage. Hopefully all of your muscles in between your ribs and your back and your chest are a little more open. You can just feel that you get more expansion, more breath with each inhale. So now take your right leg up to tabletop. That's when your shin is parallel to the floor like a table. Your knee is right over your hip. Take your left hand to the inside of your knee and hold it. So if you need to kind of move your limbs around to get this just so, that's fine. But on an exhale, first things first, take your left shoulder and roll it back down to the floor if it kind of picked itself up. Keep it flat. And on an exhale, gently press your hand into your knee and your knee into your hand and feel your abdominals engage. Inhale, release. And exhale, press. So it's a little cross body work here, firing up those abdominals, but also your chest and your inner thigh. Inhale, release it. And exhale, press. You might see those abdominals or feel them scoop in. Let's lower down and do the other side. So left leg up to tabletop, right hand to the inside of the knee. Roll that shoulder back if it tipped up. And then on an exhale, gentle press, focusing on engaging the core a lot. Inhale, you don't need to press. Exhale, press. Again, acknowledging there's a little chest, a little inner thigh work happening here. Inhale, release. And exhale, press. Now, keep a little tension here, a little activity of the arm and the leg into one another, because now you're going to try to stabilize your core, stabilize your body, and lift your other leg up to tabletop. Take your other arm up to the sky. So this is a little variation on dead bug if you've ever done this. So basically, keeping this tension between the hand and the knee, that's going to help keep your core engaged. You're going to reach your arm back and your foot down to the floor, and then lift up. You reach back, inhaling, and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So this is where you need to keep the core engaged. So you need your inhale to be into your ribs, into your back, into your chest. Inhale and exhale. Pull this shoulder back a little bit if it's creeping up like mine. Inhale and exhale. One more. And exhale. And then hug your knees in. Whew. Let's do the other side. So feet flat, lift your right leg up, take your left hand to your right knee, reach your arm up, reach your other leg up to tabletop. Find that abdominal connection right off the bat. Inhale to reach the arm and leg away. Exhale. Inhale, reach. And exhale. Inhale, reach. Ooh, exhale. Inhale, reach. Exhale. 2 more. Keep your back still on the mat. The abdominals from your hand and knee touching should help with that. Ooh, and then hug it in. Really good. So now placing your feet flat on the mat, we're going to open up those hips. We just worked them. Take that towel or bolster, whatever it is, and place it between your inner thighs. If it's long, hopefully it is like mine, place it along the length of your inner thigh. So it's right here by your pelvis or your crotch going up to the knees, and then arms down by your side. So on an exhale, gently hug that towel, whatever it is, and then release it like halfway. So you're squeezing it, feeling hopefully those lower abs engage, and then releasing it only halfway. So you keep a little work on that towel. Not much, but it's there. And then squeeze. Inhale, release. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, release. Exhale, squeeze. Hold the squeeze. Tuck your pelvis. That's when your tailbone tilts up a little bit and you press your lower back into the floor, and begin to peel your hips, your lower back, and then your middle back off the mat into a little bridge. How high you go is up to you. And then roll your spine down, middle back, lower back, sacrum, and then finally your tailbone tips into the mat. Exhale, tuck. The pubic bone tilts up. You lift your hips, your lower back. I'm going to lift my arms so you can see. Rolling up, and then roll your spine down. I'm trying hard to tuck my pelvis. Not a great example of that. And then drop it into neutral 2 more times. You can press your arms into the floor. I'm going to keep mine up. Lifting your arms up is a good challenge if you feel ready to make your bridges and the stability of your bridges a little harder. Lifting your arms up off the floor will help with that. Hold up at the top. Remember, if this bridge is going into your back, you can lower your hips a little bit, but try to feel your abdominals, your inner thighs squeezing that towel, and then your hamstrings and your glutes working. So from here, wherever you are with your arms, reach them all the way back to the wall behind you. Really stretch them back. And then roll your spine down as we've been practicing. Upper back, middle back, lower back, and finally your tailbone. Reach the arms forward. Lift the hips up. Reach the arms up and back. And on that exhale, upper back goes down, then middle back, then lower back. Ooh, and then finally your sacrum and your tail, and then your arms come forward. That might be a challenge. You might be tight in certain parts of your back or even in your shoulders. The shoulders can also make this challenging, but feel like you're giving yourself a good stretch. And arms. We're going to do that one more time. Lift the hips up. You've got a little gentle squeeze on that towel. Reach the arms up and back. And then roll down, rolling your hips down, down, down. And then reach the arms forward. Really good. So now you're going to take this towel out, place your hands behind your head, get ready to curl up. So if you need to do any wiggling around, now's your chance. Because on an exhale, you're going to lift your head, neck, and shoulders up into a little crunch and lower down. Exhale, curl up and lower. So the curl, your chin stays the same distance away from or the same sort of angle towards your chest. You're really thinking of folding from your rib cage, right under your sternum. And let's do 3 more of these. Of course, you're always welcome to please go slower or do less repetitions. And lower down. All right, if you're ready for a challenge, you're lifting one leg up to tabletop, pull your abs in, lift the other leg up to tabletop. So hopefully there wasn't a lot of shifting in your hips there. Now, same thing, you're curling up and lowering. Use your lower abdominals to keep your hips and your lower back still while your upper back does this movement. It's actually quite challenging to go this slow and like mindfully. So acknowledge that if this is feeling hard, you can hear it in my voice. It's not easy. You have one more. Ooh, I'm getting a little warm. And then lower the head down, bring your knees in and give yourself a hug. So if that felt too hard, or like your hips were getting super tired, or your lower back is rolling all over the place, bring your feet down for this next one, okay? But if you felt good and you're ready to move on, you're gonna keep your legs up at tabletop, hands behind your head, and curl up. From here, imagine you've got 2 little cups of tea or coffee or champagne on your knees, whatever you want. Keep them there. Don't let them spill. Really imagine them. And twist your body towards the right side of the room and then twist to the left. The rule applies if your feet are down. You still keep those little glasses of champagne on your knees without spilling them at all. They're full to the top. Oof, this is hard. So let's do 2 more rounds. And notice, are you still breathing? Are you keeping your hips still and still breathing while you do this hard work? Whew. And then lower down. And again, hug the knees. All right, we're gonna do a classic Pilates exercise, the 100. But I don't wanna pump the arms really quick because that might get your heartbeat going a little too fast. That's kind of the point of the exercise. So we're gonna do it with slow pumping. You've got, again, options here. You could curl up with your feet flat, inhaling, reaching the arms up, exhaling, pressing the arms down. You could do this at tabletop. You could also do either of those legs with your head down if your neck is not ready to curl up a bunch, okay? So wherever you're at, right, decide, are you curled up? Is your head down? Are your legs up? Are your feet down? Pick your position and start to inhale for a count of 5 and exhale for a count of 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Inhale, imagine you're pulling something up, and exhale, pressing with those back muscles down. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can do this here, right? And exhale, zip those abs a lot. Inhale, feel the ribs expand, and exhale. 2 more breaths. And exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Final breath. 3, 4, 5, and exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. Let yourself breathe however your body wants to. A human breath, as one of my teachers says. And then roll yourself over. Careful if you're feeling a little lightheaded, you're gonna push yourself up to seated. So we're gonna do some half roll downs now. So with your half roll down, your feet are flat on the floor, ideally, maybe flexed if your feet get really crampy, and with your knees bent. Bring your hands to the sides of your thighs. So you can either really hold on and use your arms, or you can just let your hands be here as a guide. But either way, you sit up tall, try to get the tallest spine you can get right now. And then on an exhale, you pull your abdominals in, just like we've been practicing, and around your whole spine until it rocks back behind your sit bones. Your arms straighten, and then you roll up. You round yourself forward, forward, forward. And only once you're up over your hips, you stack your spine back up to tall. Round again, abs leading the way always. Hold for a moment. Deep in the core, can you pull it in? Don't let it pop out here. Pull it in and round forward. Remember, you can use your arms to help you, especially on this lift. Pulling your thighs in is a nice assist there. Abs in. Rock back. You go to wherever you feel comfortable or like appropriately challenged. Inhale. Exhale, deepen the abs. Think of rolling yourself up like a carpet. And then stack your spine up to tall. I'm going to be quiet now and just flow through this 4 more times. Try to find your own flow here. Inhale to lift, exhale to round back. Hold. Exhale to round forward. And 2 more on my count. Let's do one more for good luck. I feel like I just found a good flow. On this last one, reach your arms forward and you're gonna roll all the way back. So don't stop at that halfway point. Just get yourself all the way down to the floor. Reach those arms and legs away from each other. Stretch the front of your body. So this next one that we're doing is a little challenging, especially because I'm a real stickler for form. So for TikTok, you bring your legs up to tabletop. If this at any point feels really just like impossible going into your back and hips, you can also do it with your bolster that we were using before, with your hips slightly raised, okay? So either way, you're gonna commit to keeping your kneecaps and your big toes together. All right, so they are next to each other, right? And then your hands can come a little bit off to the sides here because you will tip your hips and knees and legs to one side. But keep your chest facing the ceiling. And then use your waist to pull those legs back to center and take them over to the other side. So how far you go is kind of dependent on like what your mobility is like in your twist, in your pelvis, in your lower back, and your middle back. So if you're going over and your knees are kind of sliding away from each other, you're not twisting your hips evenly. You're kind of hiking one hip over. Really commit to keeping the knees and the big toes touching right next to each other, and only go as far as you can maintain that. Otherwise, it's something else. It's not as useful. Once you get the handle on it, bring your attention to the core, right? Feel your waist. You're really wringing your waist out, keeping your shoulders and even your chest and most of your ribs flat on the floor as you rotate and twist your hips. Wring those muscles, but also your insides get a nice little massage here. Your internal organs get some extra blood flowing to them when you rotate. This is the last round. So get what you need out of it. And then you can rest your feet. If you felt that in your quads, it's normal. They were working too. So take your feet wide, a little wider than your hips even, and then you can just rock your knees to one side and then the other like windshield wipers. This is more loosey-goosey, right? You can let those hips get their stretch, let them go at their own pace. Catch your breath, maybe feel like you can move in your lower ribs and your waist a little more than you could before. And then you're gonna roll over onto your stomach. So working the back a bit now. When you lay down on your stomach, take your hands one on top of the other underneath your forehead. For this especially, if you need to look at the screen and then put your head back down. Try not to be lifting your spine and looking. I've been doing a lot of that as a teacher and it doesn't feel great on the neck. So take a moment, I'll try to show and then we'll start counting. So first things first, with your head resting on your hands and your legs kind of wider than your hips, just take a moment to relax. Notice, are your glutes kind of engaging? Is your back working? Can you exhale and melt your chest into the floor a little more? Can you get flatter? Whew. All right, once you're there, once you feel a little heavier into the mat, then you can start to pull your abdominals in and up. So try to feel, am I frozen? No, I'm just not moving a lot. Pull your abs in and up off the mat. They might not actually lift off the mat, but that's what you're trying to do. I'm like trying to get my belly to literally lift a little bit. Lower abs and belly button, okay? That's super important here. Then reach your toes away from you. So belly and toes are reaching. My glutes are going to squeeze a little. And then lift your head, chest, and heart up. So this is where you start to look kind of like a sphinx, and then lower down. So now if you've watched and you know what you're doing, you can join in, keeping your glutes, your abs, your legs active. You're floating your head, chest, and heart down, and then floating it up and then down. Try to enjoy this, meaning like find an opening in your chest. This is the opposite of hunching over your phone or your laptop. And then if you're like, I got this, you can start to think about using your back muscles, the ones between your shoulder blades and slightly below, to also help to lower down. So they contract to lift your chest, right? But then they're still working to slowly lower you down with control. You lift using those back muscles, and then they lower or they lengthen with control. Now, if you want to add to this, make it a little harder, check in on your abs and glutes first. You can keep one hand glued to your forehead, right? I'll do the other hand so you can see better. You can do 4 with one arm and then 4 with the other. Work the muscles on the way down, whatever you do. If you want to lift both arms up, that's the hardest option, because then it's the weight of both arms and shoulders. Switch hands if you're working one arm. Check in. Did you lose your glutes? Did you lose your lower abs? I lost them for a minute. I had to re-engage them. That's what's going to keep it out of your lower back. Keep working that upper back instead. One more for the road. And then lower down. Whew. Sway your hips left to right. And then bend your knees, which are nice and wide, and glue your heels together. So your toes are open like a little V shape. Feet are flexed. I could put a little pizza box on top of the soles of your feet and it would stay balanced. Now again, squeeze your abs up, squeeze your glutes back and down, and then lift your knees up a little. It's not a huge movement, but it is that work of your hamstrings and glutes again, like in your bridges that we did before. So if you've got this and you feel like, okay, I got the hamstrings and glutes on the way up, I want you to also think about them working slowly on the down. So we're working in both directions always. That's how you get stability and stamina as well. So lifting, squeezing, but also lowering with control. We're doing 4 more. Always up to you to take breaks when you need it. 2. Last one. And then stretch those legs long, let them be open, and help yourself up to a child's pose. So pushing yourself back. Let those knees be open as wide as the mat. If you need to walk them forward, your feet can be close together, and then sit back. And here we're going to get into that back stretch. So closing out, you rest your forehead. If the floor seems really far away, grab that bolster. Sometimes we're tight in the back and we can't quite get the head down. Put your head on your pillow. If you're quite tight, you can really bolster yourself up. My goal is though that you take some time to rest the weight of your head so that those back muscles don't need to hold it up, and breathe. Sometimes, depending on your shoulders and like what's your tightness, it's nicer to have your arms down by your side. But if it's possible to have your arms forward, that's preferable, okay? So holding here, Feel that back expand with breath, okay? Walk your hands to the right side of the mat. And when you do that, your left arm is going to really walk further so that you're stretching that opposite side of your body. If you've walked to the right side of your mat, your left side is stretching. Just like this is like our stretch we started with laying on the side, right? Walk your hands over. Reach that other arm over, up and over until you might feel a stretch in your lat, in your ribs, in your lower back, wherever you're tight on that side, that's where you'll feel it. If you don't feel it, that's awesome. Just keep breathing into that side, into your right side now. Bring your hands back to center. And to come up out of here, let's scoop the abs. Let's pull those abdominals in. Press your hands into the floor so that your elbows lift. So your belly is engaged. It's going to help you up. You're going to walk your hands back slowly, rounding your spine up to tall. Maybe bringing your hands onto your thighs and your ears coming up last. And take a moment to feel how your abdominals were able to help you lift your spine up to tall. And try to keep a little bit of that connection with you as you walk around the rest of your day. That's all we have for today. Thank you for joining me. And as always, if you are willing and able to pay, you can Venmo or Zelle me any couple bucks. 25% of all proceeds go to my local mutual aid organization. But if you can't, please don't worry about it. And I hope you're enjoying these classes. Hope to see you soon.